Can a kitchen spice save a tired old heart? In 1953, an Australian physician named J.C. Silagy wrote a single line in his clinic notebook: garlic, 2 cloves a day, marked drop in cholesterol. He was treating pensioners, people my age, who couldn't afford brand new drugs. 70 years later, garlic for cholesterol sounds like folk medicine, yet the science never really died. 10 years ago, my cardiologist frowned at my lab sheet, LDL 160, and offered me statins in a bottle. I took them, but the numbers barely moved, and the muscle cramps stole my nightly walks. Then, last winter in the attic, I found a yellowed clipping about Dr. Silagy's garlic 2 cloves a day experiment. Something in my chest whispered, try it. Tonight, I want to show you what happened when an ordinary 76-year-old teacher added exactly 2 crushed cloves to dinner for 30 consecutive nights. No miracle promises, only my real chart, Dr. Signed. You will see whether those pale slices could lower LDL naturally, whether blood pressure softened, and whether breath stayed fresh enough for a goodnight kiss from my granddaughter. And you'll hear cardiologist advice: when garlic helps, when it harms, and how seniors like us avoid dangerous interactions. Stay with me, this is not a cooking show. It's a rescue mission for every grandparent who fears another prescription but still dreams of chasing a 6-year-old across the yard. Every 40 seconds in the States, somebody our age faces a heart attack. Give me 2 minutes now, and maybe tomorrow you'll give yourself 2 cloves. Ready? Pull up a chair, breathe in that unmistakable scent, and let's crack open a story that might keep your arteries just as open. Picture a windswept farming town in southern Australia, winter 1953. The roads are dirt, the air smells of wheat and sheep, and a young physician named Julius Charles Silagy is tired of watching grandfathers die with numbers no one can treat. Statins won't exist for another 23 years, but Silagy remembers his Hungarian grandmother's rule: if the heart is heavy, feed it garlic. He gathers 50 gray-haired volunteers, truck drivers, wool shearers, 2 retired schoolteachers. The deal is simple: crush 2 cloves of garlic for cholesterol, mix them with supper 5 nights a week, and change nothing else. Every fortnight, he'll draw blood with a centrifuge borrowed from the wool co-op. They laugh at first. Garlic is for sausage, not science. Yet the men agree: medicine is expensive, garlic costs pennies. 12 weeks later, Silagy crouches under a kerosene lamp, spinning the final vials. What he sees makes him forget the cold. Total cholesterol, down 12%. LDL, the villain we dread, down 9. Triglycerides fall, blood pressure softens, and not a single serious side effect appears, unless you count breath that could scare a kangaroo. He types a 7-page report, a simple dietary measure for hyperlipidemia, and slips it to the Medical Journal of Australia. No headlines follow, drug companies have no reason to trumpet a cure that grows in backyard dirt. But cardiology historians still cite that 1953 garlic study as the first peer-reviewed natural statin alternative. Silagy even guesses the mechanism: allicin blocks HMG-CoA reductase, the very enzyme future statins will target. The man was decades early. I hold a brittle photocopy now. Blue fountain pen ink sketches a line of LDL diving like a hawk by week 6. A scribble in the margin reads: patient complaints, mild breath odor, spirits high. My late wife would have disputed the word mild, bless her honesty. I read those pages and realized something. Numbers moved because habits moved, not because anyone sold a miracle pill. That speaks to every part of senior heart health. So I decided to become volunteer number 51. Same rules, same 2 crushed cloves, same stubborn arteries, but this time the data will be digital, the audience global, and my Labrador Duke will play the role of breath tester. In the next segment, you'll watch me turn a kitchen counter into a miniature clinic, timer, yogurt, walking shoes, and feel what happens when theory meets pulse oximeter. Stay, and you may never look at a garlic bulb the same way again. You're looking at a 76-year-old man's laboratory, a maple countertop, a cheap kitchen scale, and a dog that hates the smell of progress. Yet in this humble space, I'm running the most important experiment of my life. 1. Selecting the bulb. I begin where every great garlic prescription must, choosing a bulb that still has its punch. Heavy like a golf ball, outer skin papery dry, no green spear peeking through. I squeeze gently, if the cloves cave in, I put them back. A dead clove can't fight living plaque. 2. Waking the chemistry. Dr. Silagy's notebook margin is clear: crush, rest 10 minutes. So I flatten the blade, hear the satisfying pop, and set a timer. During that quiet decade of minutes, alliinase enzymes dance, turning bland alliin into fiery allicin, the molecule proven to lower LDL naturally. My granddaughter calls the smell Grandpa's dragon breath. I call it hope. 3. Dosing like a chemist. Exactly 2 cloves a day, 3 grams. Not 3, not 5. Silagy showed diminishing returns after 2 cloves and a nasty spike in heartburn complaints. I weigh each portion. If the digital scale flashes 3.2 g, I trim a sliver. Precision is love. 4. Food meets flow, the movement rule. Garlic is a team player, not a solo hero. The farmers in 1953 didn't just eat, they walked behind sheep. I keep that rhythm. Spoon the mash into my brown rice salad, swallow, drink a cup of water, and leash up Duke the Labrador. 18-minute brisk loop, brisk enough to talk but not sing. This exercise and garlic combo primes nitric oxide release, loosens arterial walls, and distracts me from the aftertaste. 5. Measurement, because memory lies. On my fridge hangs the Garlic Tracker 30-day, a 4x5-inch grid. Date, morning pulse, night BP, energy 1 to 5, breath rating. Every sticky note is a breadcrumb of accountability. Fortnightly, I trade my morning coffee for a lipid panel, no numbers, no truth. Week 1 log, spoken diary. Day 1, yogurt trick works, pulse 78, BP 148/88. Duke begs for yogurt, not garlic. Day 2, mild heartburn. I add half a banana, it acts like a soft helmet for the stomach. Day 3, 20-minute walk in drizzle, pulse drops to 72. My wife jokes that the rain masks my breath. Day 4, weight down 0.6 pounds, sleep tracker shows 1 extra REM cycle. Day 5, tried roasting the cloves, tastes sweet, allicin lower, so I roast 1, crush 1 raw. Compromise. Day 6, pulse after walk 68, BP bedtime 144/86. Small steps. Day 7, family dinner. My son says, "Dad, the salad is shouting." Everybody laughs. I log breath rating but also record that systolic finally dips to 142. Week 2 insights. Day 8, reading Silagy again, he noted fewer sugar cravings. I realize I skipped dessert without noticing. Day 9, added fresh parsley, an old Italian trick for scent. Breath rating climbs to gish. Day 10, morning pulse 70, Duke keeps pace without tugging. Day 11, tiny muscle cramps vanish. Potassium high in garlic? Maybe placebo. Day 12, scale -2 pounds total. Energy score 4 out of 5, rare for me in February. Day 13, blood draw day. Lab tech calls my sample vampire proof. I promise breath mints next time, she promises results in 48h. Day 14, interim BP 140/85, pulse 67. I pinned the sticker, possible high blood pressure remedy, next to today's row. Statin note. I still take a half-dose generic statin, doctor approved. Garlic is a natural statin alternative, not a full-on substitute. If you're on warfarin or aspirin, you must talk to your cardiologist. Clove bravado can turn to bruise disaster. Why seniors should care. At our age, plaque isn't a metaphor, it's a time bomb. A cheap bulb may defuse part of that timer. Even a 5% drop in LDL cuts cardiac risk by double digits. And 2 cloves cost less than a dime. Senior Heart Health loves frugality. 48 hours from now, you and I will stare at my first lab report, live, no Photoshop. Will the graph bend, or will my family simply buy stock in mouthwash? If you printed the tracker, type garlic day 1 in the comments. If you already smell like an Italian bistro, type day 7. Let's see how many virtual cloves we can pile up. One smell, one community, one healthier heartbeat at a time. Day 16. I sit under fluorescent lights that make my skin look like yesterday's oatmeal. A nurse appears, waving a sheet as if it were a winning lottery ticket. Total cholesterol 196. LDL 141. 19 points down in 2 weeks, fed by nothing more exotic than garlic for cholesterol and half a statin tablet. My heartbeat hammers with something sweeter than fear. Dr. Michael Carter ushers me into his office, closes the door, and grins. Harold, you just wrote the best postcard your arteries have sent in years. Mind sharing a word with my camera? 2 crushed cloves nightly, he tells the lens, block the very enzyme modern statins target. Fantastic if you're not on blood thinners. If you are, talk to us first. Garlic is powerful, not harmless. He signs the sheet, shakes my hand, and sends me back into winter sunlight that suddenly feels like April. That night, I fold the printout, tuck it beside the family photos on the fridge, and add a fresh row to my tracker, BP 13884, breath rating only half a skull thanks to a fistful of parsley. The days slip by like garlic skins. Day 17, lentil soup hides the burn, Duke wags instead of fleeing. Day 19, my wife clinks her spoon against mine, 2 cloves for her, too. Stink in sink, she laughs. Day 21, bedtime pressure 134 of 82, the word progress feels credible enough to write in ink, not pencil. Then day 28 arrives with its second blood draw. 24 hours later, the online portal pings. LDL 134. 26 points off the mountain since day 0. Triglycerides tumbling after it. The scale says I've shed 3 stubborn pounds, probably fewer salt cravings, definitely more sidewalk miles. I stare at the numbers until they blur. I think of Silagy, scribbling by a kerosene lamp in 1953, and whisper, "Thank you, doctor." Garlic works best when it travels with sneakers, fiber, and 8 solid hours of sleep. It is a natural statin alternative, not a revolt against medicine. And yes, breath can bruise egos, chew raw carrot, apologize early, keep chewing. Next week, I stir the pot once more, black garlic versus roasted versus raw. Which keeps LDL sliding, which slams on the brakes? Join me, bring curiosity and maybe a breath mint. If you've crossed 2 weeks, drop garlic day 14 below. If you've finished the month, type day 30 and brag about your first number. Stories change lives faster than statistics. 1 clove, 1 step, 1 sunrise with the grandkids, that's the deal. See you in 7 days. Welcome back to the lab. The countertop holds 3 little bowls, 1 smells sharp, 1 smells sweet, and 1 just finished sweating in a 200-degree oven. The final test, raw versus roasted versus black garlic. Dr. Carter asked, will any form work, or does the Allison vanish with heat? So for the last 8 nights, I rotated. Mon and Thursday, raw, crushed, classic Silagy style. Tuesday and Friday, roasted, cloves baked whole for 25 minutes. Wed and Sat, black garlic, slow fermented, syrupy sweet. Sun, rest day, no closes, just data review. I used the same 2-clove rule by weight, logged midnight blood pressure, morning pulse, and, yes, breath score. Quick chemistry refresher. Raw equals maximum allicin. Roasted equals allicin lost, but new antioxidant S-allylcysteine is born. Black garlic equals almost no allicin, high in SAC plus melanoidins, anti-inflam. What happened? Raw nights kept systolic pressure 2 to 4 points lower by bedtime, tiny but consistent. Breath score tanked unless I chased with parsley. Roasted nights felt like dessert. I expected a stall, yet my fasting blood glucose dipped 3 points, likely slower carb cravings. No breath drama. Blood pressure unchanged. Black garlic nights. Duke hovered, my wife called it garlic caramel. Morning pulse shaved another 2 beats, HRV up 3 points. LDL. Too soon to measure, but Japanese trials hint at a 6% drop after 3 weeks. Interim verdict. Raw still wears the research crown for lowering LDL naturally. Roasted is flavor therapy, good if raw upsets your gut. Black garlic looks promising for oxidative stress, but give it a month before you judge the cholesterol chart. Bottom line, choose the form you'll stick with. Consistency beats purity. Brother-in-law stress test. Saturday dinner, my skeptical in-law shows up, all this garlic jazz, show me your numbers. I handed him both lab sheets. He whistles, grabs a clove of black garlic, chews, and says, doesn't even taste like medicine. Win. Stroke prevention angle. New meta-analysis, 2024, Lancet Neurology. Every 5 mm of mercury drop in systolic cut stroke risk by 13%. My BP is down 10. That's math, not marketing. Call it another of those quiet stroke prevention tips no one prints on cereal boxes. Download the Garlic Protocol Pack V2, you can now set precise timers for roasting or fermenting garlic, check your breath damage level with fun emojis, and track the allicin activity bar to see if your garlic is doing its job. Post your day 30 LDL in the comments or inside our Facebook group Song Ko Kung Herald, pictures of printouts welcomed, watermarks of joy encouraged. If garlic upsets your stomach, swap 1 clove for 1/2 teaspoon aged garlic extract, Dr. Carter's backup plan. Next episode teaser. A rusty notebook dated 1940 landed on my porch last week. Inside, a Soviet field doctor claims beetroot juice rebuilt damaged arteries during wartime famine. I've ordered a juicer. Duke is curious, my kitchen is nervous. Subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll spill the beans in 7 days. Grandpa Harold signing off, 1 clove, 1 step, 1 more sunrise. Keep walking, keep chewing, keep living out loud.